Greetings, this is your girl Isis Wisdom of IsisWisdom.com, also the publisher of WordOnTheStreetsMag.com. Tonight I have a very, very special guest, and we're going to talk about the importance of Ascension with the Dr. Delbert Blair. Also, I have a special co-host, which you guys are very familiar with him. His name is Sevan. He is the author of The Code to the Matrix. So make sure you guys tune in and listen to this hot show. Hello, Dr. Delbert Blair. How are you doing this evening?
Doing fine, and how are you doing this evening?
I'm very excited. There's a lot of people in the chat room. You know, everybody was kind of anticipating this show. I'm very honored to have you here tonight, and I know Sevan's very honored to have you here as well. So,
well, I appreciate the compliments from both of you, and also from your audience, who's very gracious to think that.
Okay, so the first thing I want to do is I want you to just give us a brief summary of who you are and what you do for my audience who's not aware of who you are. Can you just give us like a brief summary of who you are?
That's very difficult to do. I'm a director of the Meta Center, which is short for Metaphysical Center. We're coined and charted as the Meta Center. We were coined and charted coined it in 70, charted it in 72, and we've been going full swing from that one. I'm a college professor, history professor. I also have a engineer's background, as I worked for a couple of insurance companies, and whatever they insured, I had to inspect, and that went from inland marine, grain elevators, silos. It really tested me because I was the only black in the engineering group. And then also, in more or less, you would say again, I'm also a minister. Had my own church for a while till I woke up as to the things that I was saying that were not true, and I didn't know at the time when I got out of seminary that they weren't. And I guess I've had all kind of crazy contacts or different kind of contacts. Had my life saved about 7 times. I've been poisoned. Wife was killed when we both were poisoned. I got over it, she didn't. So I have a background that is quite extensive. Experienced most things, and hope some things I don't have to experience as we enter into a heck of a time on this planet.
Okay. Now, speaking of entering into a heck of a time on this planet, there has been a lot of craziness going on here as of late. I mean, I know you heard about the swirlies that took place over in over Norway, the sky, and then of course there's the pyramid hovering over Russia, and then some stuff took place over in China, and it's just been a whole bunch of extraness that's going on. So I wanted to talk to you about the facts. You know what I'm saying? I know me and you had a discussion about people searching for their own truth. So with you, I know I'm going to get the facts. So let's just talk about a little bit about what's going on. Like right now we're in this exciting time, but what in the world is going on in 2009, and what can we expect in the next 3 years?
Well, in the next 3 years, and it's interesting that you use the term next 3 years, because that would be 10, 11, 12, and that most people are not thinking past the figure 3 from now, because they're talking about 2012 and the Mayan calendar and all of these things. I don't think the Earth is going to go anywhere as far as linear time goes during that time. I think the Earth is getting to vibrate faster, and it is my opinion that from conjecture and from listening and from weighing that our planet is going from the 3rd dimension to the 5th dimension. If that is the case, we're in for quite a roller coaster ride. That's like going from kindergarten to postgraduate school in 3 years. It's not really 3 years, because we're using our chronology in the eyes of the master or the eyes of the creator, who knows what time it is. Most of our time delineation is already off. The calendars are wrong. Under the Roman Greco-Julian calendar, we lost 441 days in the year 45 BC. They added the months January and February to the Januaries and Februaries consul through King, what was this guy's name? Julius Caesar, and then this other guy. So we really don't even know what time it is. We might be there already. So it's just a matter now of using the delineation chronology that we understand and see if we can make sense out of it. The sense seems to be, no matter what the time really is, that by the 2 or 3 more years, our planet will be in the 5th dimension. That simply means it will be now able to do things in what the heavens of Earth used to be called. We have, as I understand, 7 heavens. And when we die, we go, if we're good, to the 1st heaven, and then we go on like that. Well, that would mean that the seventh heaven would be the ultimate. Well, the fifth dimension is equal to the fifth heaven, which means it will have heaven on earth, if you begin to understand how these terminologies are now beginning to be revealed and come true. Before, we were in almost like the hells. There's supposed to be 7 hells. And that speaks to the idea that there's 7 inner layers of earth, because hell or Helen means to cover. So most of that has been covered. And inside the earth is the theory of the hollow earth and this kind of thing. So as we begin to see all of these things that didn't make sense before begin to be quite lucid, it means that we're growing in consciousness, that all is being revealed. And the problem is some of the things going to be revealed are just absolutely mind-blowing. And this is what I think we're faced again. If we stay with this planet, we will have to speed up our vibrations, because the planet which we're on is speeding up her vibrations. And as she does that and we do that, we begin to be more and more a little wiser of what we do. People are talking about seeing shadow people now. They're talking about seeing images and so out of the corner of the eye. That's because we're getting into the 4th dimension very quickly. And we were before in the 3rd dimension. This is why when you're half asleep and coming out of your body, you can get eyesight. You begin to see things you don't see. People begin to say, well, they wake up nowadays and they're frozen and scared stiff because they're screaming and scared, but they can't hear anything. Well, all of these are just showing that we're beginning to freeze frame what we normally do. I could talk about this forever, but I'll just simply say, as we get more into who we really are, and we are not physical, we are souls in a body trying to understand physicality, not physicals trying to understand spirituality, and we're having a hard time getting used to these physical bodies because they were much beneath what we should have had. They were much there because of our karma dharma that we needed to experience, and now we're going to get a full experience of a ride of what we could really be instead of just what we used to be. So as I say again, we could elaborate on that for the longest, but in an overview, the reason why you're seeing these things like you saw there in Norway, and if you remember again, that was where your president was already going to be presented the Nobel Peace Prize. And that's the same reason. It's not accidental that at the same time you see this symbol in the sky. They tried to pass it off as a Russian fighter in spiral, crashing or something else. It had nothing to do with it. This ray came from the ground, which meant it's either what they call a hologram, or you're getting an emanation from the 3rd dimension. Whichever way it is, it was not natural. And it was done at a time to draw attention to Norway, quite obviously, because this is where the president was. And if you remember in the acceptance speech and all, it's been said, we fight wars in order to gain peace. Never was a good war, never will be. Wars are not gained to try to be gained peace. They're fought because we couldn't settle our differences on the physical plane in an admirable way. So consequently, we have to take it to the plane that's going to take us even lower. Wars have always been fought on this planet. Wars have been fought in interstellar space. Wars are always fought. It's because we souls do not understand non-souls, and that means, again, that there are soulless creatures out here who envy our souldom, who envy wherever we can do because we cannot die, and consequently, there's always going to be this altercation back and forth. I guess I better stop somewhere here because I could just go on, but that's an overview of what I think are happening, many other things that will happen, and of course the cause is because we're going to a faster dimension and a faster vibration, and later on a whole different resonation of consciousness.
Okay, now I was going to say it does seem like the time is definitely speeding up. I know there's days where I'm not able to keep track of linear time as we know it. So there's definitely something going on. Sevan, do you have a question?
Actually, what I was thinking about at this moment was in regards to the, just to my understanding, I know we use a lot of the terms loose, but the planes and the dimensions and the difference between the two, one being somewhat lower. But I wanted to ask the doctor, just by the way, it's an amazing time to be on the line with you, and definitely a high point in what I've been working on here, especially as far as activating humans. And we have a website full of individuals that are experiencing numerous amounts of things that I personally cater to, and we've formed what we just call the resistance. But I wanted to talk to you, Doctor, about the activation of the human body, just to make an assessment myself if I was told as an observer to give a report on the situation that's happening here on Earth, so it makes its proper transmission it seems to be that there should be some light humans that are to deal with the situation, even going on in 6D, and these type of beings that still, I would just assume that the humans